everybody, this is Angela from Schulers Books, and today I have a book haul for you, end of March book haul, and I have to show you the books that I read in March, which unfortunately was not very many. I didn't have a good reading month this month, and I'll show you the books at the end of the video that I am currently reading. Alright, so let's get started. The first book I have to show you is Stephen King's 11/22/63. My husband and I started watching this on Hulu about a month ago, and we're really enjoying it. And I said I want to get the book because I want to read how the book goes. I really am enjoying this little series. It only has 8 episodes, so I think it's like a mini-series, but I'm really enjoying it, and I look forward to reading the Stephen King book. The only other Stephen King book I have ever read would have been Cujo, and that would have been back when I was like 16 or 17 years old. So, alright, the next book I have to show you is Broken Crowns. This is the third and final book in the Internment Chronicles, I believe it is. I haven't read the first one. I have the first 2. But I will get into it. I really like Lauren DeStefano's work. I enjoyed her Chemical Garden trilogy, so I'm sure I'll enjoy this trilogy when I get to it. Alright. I also picked up Walk the Edge by Katie McGarry, and I do have her other books, her Pushing the Limits series. And I also have her other book in the Thunder Road series, which I got last year, Nowhere But Here. I haven't read it yet. So far, I'm still working my way through Dare You To, and it's okay. I kind of like the first book with Noah and Echo in Pushing the Limits. This one has Beth and Ryan, and it's okay. It's just okay. Alright, the next book I have to show you I picked up at Schulers, and this is Hello. This is a novel by Liza Wiemer, and it's about a bunch of people that are unrelated to each other that accidentally call each other or something like that. I just thought it sounded interesting, and usually when I'm checking out a new book, I will always do my Goodreads app when I'm at Schulers or Barnes & Noble and check the rating. If it has anything over a 4.0, I definitely get it, and I also look at the reviews. So I think it'll be good. It'll be a good contemporary. I also picked up Under a Painted Sky, and this is by Stacey Lee. And this looks like it is a historical fiction book. So I think it'll be interesting. I like historical fiction. The next 3 I have to show you are part of a trilogy. And here they are. Now, I've heard really mixed reviews, and even the person at the bookstore once told me, like, you don't want to go with that series, it's really not that great. But the last half a dozen times I went to Schulers, I kept seeing it there. I'm like, I really would like it. I was even looking on Goodreads to look at all the 5-star reviews in hopes that it would push me in that direction. I'm like, finally, like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna buy them. So I got Halo by Alexandra Adornetto. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. The second book, Hades, and Heaven. Now, I really like Angel books. I liked the Hush Hush series. I also liked Unearthly, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy this one. I really hope it'll be good. If any of you out there have actually read this series and have good, kind things to say about it, let me know in the comments below. Alright. The last two books I got from Schulers last week would be middle grade. I think it's either a series or a trilogy or a duology. I'm not sure. But this first one is called The Keepers by Ted Sanders, The Box and the Dragonfly. I partially kind of got these two books because they were autographed and they had a 4.0 something on Goodreads. So I thought, oh, that's cool, they're autographed. And the second book, which is The Keepers, The Harp and the Ravine? Ravine? Maybe I spelled it wrong. This one's also autographed. I think I'm just kind of, as far as middle grade goes, I'm just kind of looking for the next Harry Potter or the next Percy Jackson. And I want that feeling is really what I'm trying to say. I want that feeling of that magicalness that I felt with those two series. So I'm hoping that these books will put me in that same place. Alright, the last two books I have to show you, I actually picked up at Meijer, which is a grocery store. If those of you out there don't have a Meijer, it's a grocery store. Okay, I have The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. Now, I know she wrote another book called Open Road Summer, which I have not read, and she has a new book called When We Collide that comes out next week, which sounds interesting. But I thought that this book, it really looks interesting, about a girl whose boyfriend died, and he was a swimmer, and now she wants to be able to swim. I guess maybe she has a fear of swimming or something. So it could be interesting. Now, I got this next book because I have Richelle Mead's other books, the Vampire Academy series and the Bloodlines series. I'm still actually working on the fourth book of the Vampire Academy series. I kind of gotten a little, excuse me, I got a little stuck. Like, I'm like, it's kind of dragging here, partially losing interest, but not completely, because I will get back into it. There are quite a few books that I've kind of stopped on that eventually I do pick back up again. So the book I have to show you here is The Glittering Court. I believe this actually comes out Tuesday, and Meijer had it early. Sometimes they have books early, which is really awesome. And I've heard on Goodreads a lot of people are saying that they look like this. It's another dystopian-ish, futuristic type book. The last two I have to show you of the book haul, they're books I already own. I actually have the hardcovers and they're autographed, so I would rather kind of just have my own paperback copies so I can read them whenever and not fear of ruining my autographed editions. And I love this series. This series is like #1 under the Mortal Instruments series, so they're right up there with my all-time favorite series, along with the Gone series. So those are my top 3 favorite of all-time series that I could read again and again and again. And I am actually going to eventually reread the Mortal Instruments series because I did get Lady Midnight, and I was only 170 some pages in, and I just was not feeling it for some reason. I think it's just because it's been a few years since I read the last Mortal Instruments book, and I'm just like, feel kind of disconnected from it. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it, but it's just like dealing with these new characters, and I'm not really jiving with them. I'm sure they're great characters, but I would rather just reread the series again so I can get reintroduced to them in the last Mortal Instruments book, City of Heavenly Fire, so that way I will be ready to jump right back into Lady Midnight. Anyway, without further ado, I have Tiger's Curse. This is the one I was telling you about, that I have the paperback editions. This is the first book, Tiger's Curse. It's a great, great series if you like folklore, and, you know, myths and curses and fantasy and reality. It's a beautiful, beautiful story about a cursed prince and a young girl who helps him to break the curse that's been put on him, because he is a tiger for like 16 or 20 hours out of a 24-hour day. And then he's like human for like a couple hours a day. But she goes with him to this far off like India area to help, you know, on a journey to break the curse. This girl named Kelsey. But if you want to read more, look it up on the Goodreads site. I have the second book, which a friend, a co-worker of mine had damaged the paperback of Tiger's Quest, which is the second book, and she bought me a new one, which was very nice, because anyone, if they were to borrow my books, if you were going to be buying me another one, that's the way it goes. That's kind of why I don't let anybody but my mother-in-law borrow my books. But anyway, I have the third book, Tiger's Voyage, which is the third book. So it's a 4-book trilogy. I'm sorry, it's quartet, I think, but there is one last final 5th book coming out, possibly in another year or two. So I'm really looking forward to that. So those are the books of my book haul for the end of March. As you know, in the last video, I think I did mention about going on a book buying ban, and I did really, really well. I did mostly well, except for this very last week. I had Friday off, which I normally don't have days off for my job, and I took it as an opportunity. The sun is out. Why don't I take a small little road trip, a 40-minute road trip to Grand Rapids and go to Schulers. I had books that I wanted to trade in for store credit, and I got $38 worth of store credit, and I spent from the time like 12:30 until I think it was going on 3 o'clock just looking at books and looking at them. And a lot of them I'm noticing is like either I already have most of these books, or they're not interested. They're not interesting me. So luckily I was able to find a couple and just grab the Tiger's Curse and Tiger's Voyage, and then you know the Halo and Hades and Heaven book. I also want to show you the books I actually did read in March. The reason I want to say that I had a really bad reading month, I was jumping all over from one book to another. I think it was a slump. It was a reading slump. And another reason that kind of attributed to that was I have Hulu and Netflix, and I've been watching Party of Five on Hulu, and I've also been watching One Tree Hill on Netflix, so I'm kind of doing a lot of those, so it doesn't leave me a whole lot of reading time, except for like my 10 and 20 minute break at my job, and then like late at night when I get home. So anyway, I did read one contemporary. It is called Your Voice Is All I Hear, and it is by Lee Shear? I'm not sure how you say her last name. This is about a young girl who befriends a new boy in school. His name is Jonah Golden, and they get to talking, and they start up a friendship and a relationship, and then she notices he's having, you know, his behavior changes, and it turns out that he is diagnosed with schizophrenia, and she just sees him getting worse and worse and worse. And I mean, I liked her determination to stand by him, but in the process she ends up alienating her best friend and her mother, who both think that maybe she should move on, which I think in a way that it's good to just stay true to somebody, but if you're alienating other people because of it, then I don't think that's healthy at all. I have to say, I think the ending was realistic. I was satisfied with that. If I have to give this book out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it a 2.5. It was intriguing that it held my interest in that way. The characters were just kind of, the story itself is just kind of meh. I mean, it does deal with a very serious topic of mental illness, so I think that it just got a little too deep for me. It's just like, this is dragging me down, you know? I wasn't enjoying it when I was reading it. It's like, I just want to get through it and move on to something else. But anyway, if you're into books about mental illness, you know, people that struggle and then people that help them try to move forward, then definitely check it out. But I actually got that book last fall and I'm just now getting to it. I think I had tried to get into it and then I just set it aside, like, this is too deep for me right now. Okay, the next book I have to show you that I read, and the last book I have to show you that I read here for the month of March, is Heir of Fire. I actually started this last November after I finished Crown of Midnight. And I started it and I kind of set it aside for a while and then I picked it back up. I really enjoyed this book. I liked the story progression with Selena and the big reveal at the end of Crown of Midnight about her true identity, and then this is her just kind of going to another city on a mission from the king to, I guess, spoiler alert, she's told she has to assassinate a king and his son or something. And we meet a couple new, 3 new characters. There's Ronan, who Selena trains with, and then you also get Manon, who is a witch. Her, honestly, her storyline kind of dragged me down. It's like, she's pointless. I don't get why I keep having to read about her. I mean, I almost wanted to skip over it, which I'm sure other people probably have. I think I read a review where someone said they kind of skipped over her parts, but it's like, I could do that, but then I'd probably be missing some of the story. The ending with Manon made up for her uninteresting storyline. At least that was good. Another character, I can't remember how you pronounce his name. Oh, I have a paycheck in here. I can't pronounce his name, but he was a childhood friend of Selena's when she was young. And I guess he is working with Cal, and they're kind of plotting their own thing about what's going on with the... I don't want to go too much into it because honestly, this is really, for me, it's hard to explain unless you've read the books, and just in general, it's hard for me to explain because there's so much stuff. But all I want to say about this is that the ending was... The books, honestly, what I feel like they're books that I actually pick up, read for a bit, put down, come back to it, and I don't miss anything. I don't really forget too much. So basically, the beginning is good. The majority of the middle is dragging, but the last 75 to 80% of the book clearly makes up for the entire thing, because you get hit with such an ending and reveal. It makes up for kind of the dead spots in the middle. But I really enjoyed it. Actually, the first book, Throne of Glass, I got that probably almost 3 years ago, and I think I started it a couple years ago. And then I finally finished it when I went to Mackinac on vacation back in July. I just picked it up, and the story picked up, and I just remember on the way home from Mackinac just reading it because I was glued into it, and it's towards the end of the book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Ah! So, I have started Queen of Shadows. I've started that, so, but that's set aside right now. So, to end this video, I want to show you what I'm currently reading. I'm reading... Ow, I hit myself in the face. Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. Now, I read this book 2 years ago, but I recently acquired the third book, and I have the second book. And I'm like, you know what, it's been a couple years. I tried to read the second one, I'm like, I'm kind of forgetting some stuff. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to go back, read the first one, and I'm really liking it even more the second time around. Like, I'm picking up things. I think I'm reading more deeper into it than I was the last time, which is really cool. I know there's some dead spots in here, like there was when I read it the first time. It kind of dragged in areas with Amy's training and stuff like that with the Wicked. But it's really pushing. I'm pushing along a little farther. I decided since it's spring now, even though there's snow on the ground, we just got snow, which is really dumb because it's April. But anyway, I'm reading Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. Now this one I got 2 years ago. I tried reading it, tried picking it up, but I couldn't get into it. I have read her other ones, but this time around I'm really getting into it. I think with some books, sometimes it's just not the right time, and just set it aside, read something else, and eventually come back to it when you're more in the mood to read it. So that's usually how that works with some of the books that I put aside. I will come back to them later. So these are the ones I'm reading so far for the month of April. I don't really do TBRs as far as what I'm going to read for a month. It's just whatever I'm in the mood for. Because if I say I'm going to read this and this and this, and if I'm not feeling it in the book, it's just, then I feel obligated. And I don't want to feel obligated when I'm reading. Like I said I'm going to read this book. I have to read it because I said, and blah blah blah. So, but anyway, Morgan Matson also has a new book coming out. The Unexpected Everything, I think it's called. It comes out next month, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's really cute, especially it's got like dogs on the cover, so that's really cute. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I have 5 books that I pre-ordered this month of April that are coming out. The Raven King, which is the 4th and final book in the Raven Cycle trilogy. I have not read, I haven't gotten to the other books yet, but I will. Also, Lady Renegade comes out, which is the 3rd and final book to the Rebel Belle trilogy, which I only read the first book of that. And then there's like Winter's Kiss, that is the Winter's Curse trilogy. I haven't read the first one yet. A lot of these I get the entire series, or I get the trilogies first and then I jump into it, so I don't have to wait in between. But I got 5 books coming to me this month. I have 9 coming out in May that I've already pre-ordered ahead of time. I've even pre-ordered stuff that comes out in like June, July, August, and September, October. I am that far ahead. When these book prices drop on Barnes & Noble, sometimes they will drop to $12, $11, or $10, and I jump on them, because otherwise they'll jump back up to $12, $13, $14, $15, and it's just, when you see it drop like that, you gotta pounce on it, because you know it's gonna be going back up again. But I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I hope I didn't put you to sleep with this video. I'm sorry I'm not as energetic as I was the last time. It kind of comes and goes with me. That's just my personality. So, if you want, in the comments below, let me know if you enjoyed this video, what books you're reading, which books of these that I showed you, that I bought, that you think I should read next. Because it's always helpful to get other people's inputs, because that's why I was hopping around a lot with different books. It's like, I don't know what I want to read. I got so many books here, a lot of them that I have not read, and it's just like, I need help sometimes. So, all of you have a wonderful spring break. If those of you that are going out of state or on a road trip for spring break, have safe travels. Bring books to read. You probably already know that if you're big booktubers or book readers. So, alright. Have a wonderful day.